And the lighting in our studio is more flattering when it's cloudy out, I feel like.
Do you?
When it's very bright, I feel like it's
you
not
look
flattering.
really handsome right now. You look like James Bond.
So if you're listening to this,
you're handsome.
Watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I have a good day. I'm looking pretty good.
Yeah, you are. You're damn sexy, man. No doubt about it.
Damn. What the hell was I smoking that day to say you were that handsome?
What do you mean? It was a really good day.
Yeah.
The lighting was flattering.
Right? It was a dark? I mean, was it pitch black?
You couldn't see. Yeah.
You looked handsome in the
You
dark.
were wearing sunglasses.
Yo, what up? Chris Sims, Ahmed Fareed is here. What's up, dude? What's
going on?
Feeling good?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm feeling good.
All right, good. Hey, you look good. You know? Not like James Bond, but you look good.
I was well rested last night.
Great.
I was doing some rugby yesterday.
I know you were. I saw you in the office.
I was walking around the building, and everyone's like, what are you doing today? I was like, I got rugby, and then I was doing some stuff on NBC, but I had an eye on the games.
Yeah, I know you did.
One eye on the games, one eye on rugby. I was going like a frog.
You're a worker. I give you that.
That's the one thing you'll give me. I do the work.
Know that. And you're snarky, funny, and you don't watch movies. Other than
That's true.
that,
Yeah, those are the three.
Other than that, you're an average human being. All right, let's get it started. You ready?
Should we do it? What do we got on the show
Well,
today?
we got, first off, film
What do you
deep
want to
dive.
do? What do you want to do?
Well, 49ers, Baltimore. I had a look at that. And then really I had a look at Patriots, Texans too. I mean, come on, it's the Patriots. They don't lose often. And they kind of were, they were kind of dominated, really. To beat down 28-9, I think that was shocking. I didn't think it was shocking that the Texans would win the game. I certainly didn't pick them to win it. But I knew this would be a tough matchup for them. To be down in that position, I think, was the shocking part to me. So we will deep dive both of those games and then, of course, go across the league. We're going to listen to some tweets, answer some tweets that we got from some different people.
You went on the Twitter machine,
right,
which you want to do, and you said, what do you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I want to interact that way, and I'm hoping to do a little bit more of that on our Wednesday podcast, too, to where, tweets, anything you get at me on Instagram with, that I'd like to go into the film deep dive, what happened, and tell you what happened. So that's that, and let's go. Let's start it. Let's
do
go.
it.
Game of the day.
Let's get right into it. Game of the day.
Yeah.
It was Ravens and 49ers.
Yep.
Everyone's saying that it is a Super Bowl preview.
Yeah.
Although you know what? There is a 0.0% chance of that happening.
0.0, huh?
Yeah, because that never
Why?
happens.
It does too. I can name
turns-
like a bunch of them.
What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, the Giants played the Bills in the regular season. They played each other in the Super Bowl later that year.
Okay, one time. So it's 0.5%.
The Bills played the Cowboys, and then that happened too. Do you want me to continue to go on off the top of my head? I think I can. I think I can.
If they do play again.
The Rams played the Tennessee Titans in the regular season and lost, and then beat them in the Super Bowl.
And people were saying what were they saying at the time? This is a Super Bowl preview.
Oh, Giants, Patriots, both times.
Yeah.
Whoa, how you like them apples? Damn, we came at you hot for that.
Okay, I'll raise it up to 5% chance of it happening.
It does happen, but you're right. It doesn't happen very often.
It's very, very good teams in the playoffs. You never know what's going to happen.
Yes.
But if we do see it again, hopefully it's not as rainy.
Yeah, that to me ruined the game, 100%.
It didn't totally ruin the game.
Well, yeah, it didn't totally ruin it, but it didn't. I want to see the two. When you're talking about the two best teams in football, which I think they are at this point, with the Patriots being just on the edge and the Saints as well.
Yeah.
But I want to see it in good conditions. And I don't mean it has to be perfect, but I don't want to see rain change the game. And it rained hard enough to where I do think it changed the structure of the game a little bit, especially for the 49ers. And we'll get into that. So let's start. Let's do
the
it.
deep dive.
Deep
Time
dive.
For the deep dive. And I just do want to point out before we get into the X's and O's of the Ravens offense versus the 49ers defense, that these two teams knew each other so much. They did so much film study that even the celebrations, they learned the other team's celebrations. Did you see that from Deebo Samuel?
Oh, no, I don't think I did.
So he did there it is, we're showing
it. That's the one we saw last week,
He did the Lamar dance. Yeah, he's done that before.
Yep. We saw Mark Ingram doing it last week against the Rams. Okay, all right.
So he mimicked the celebration of the Ravens, and then the Ravens also mimicked the celebration of the 49ers. I don't know if you noticed.
Oh, I saw this one. Yes.
Planted the Bosa flag.
Right.
In the game in the torrential downpour.
Oklahoma gets back at Ohio State.
Yes. So these two teams were intimately aware of what the other team was doing, not even on the field, but during celebrations after the whistle.
Yeah, some personal connections there.
There were.
It was, and it was a fun game. And I mean, I think these are the two most physical teams in all of football too. That's where it was great to watch. I mean, Seattle, New Orleans. They're in that conversation as well. But these two would be my top as far as, I always go into like bar fight teams. These would be, I think, the top two. If you had 32 teams and a bar fight broke out, yeah, they would definitely be in the Final Four, these two, and I think I would take them in the Final
If you're ever in a bar fight, it's
Yeah.
a good idea to have an entire NFL team with you.
I mean, it helps. Would help. It does. It gives you a lot of muscles.
So let's do a Ravens O versus 49ers D.
Yeah.
Our deep dive, and it seems like the conversation starts and ends a lot of times with Lamar Jackson, what he is doing. And there was a phrase that Mike Florio talked about on the show where he said a double-triple.
Double-triple.
He pulled off the double-triple, which I thought was interesting.
Which is, he's going to be the king of it by the time his career is over, because the double-triple, it is cool. I mean, there's Michael Vick had 8 of them in his career. I think Lamar Jackson has 4, right? And that's where anytime he rushes for over 100 and throws for over 100. And the way this offense is built, and of course in the modern era, I think we could see 2 or 3 here before the end of the year's over still.
So he threw for 105 yards, 1 touchdown. He ran for 101 yards and 1 touchdown. Lamar Jackson now 5 times where he's gone over 100 yards in 2 categories, just trailing Michael Vick, who's done that 8 times. What did the 49ers do to try to stop him?
Right.
Was it successful? Because, Lamar Jackson can have those numbers, and you still feel like you did a pretty good job of containing him. What did you think the 49ers did?
Yeah, the 49ers did a good job. Now, I'll say this. With the 49ers, the first thing is, back to the weather a little bit.
Yep.
The 49ers are the faster football team. So to have to play in a quagmire of, a sloppy field to slow you down, I do think that was a disadvantage to their defense in general. Their defense kind of thrives on their speed, getting off the ball, creating chaos, right? Nick Bosa, D Ford, I know he wasn't out there yesterday, but all those other guys too, the front 7, Fred Warner, he's incredibly fast. They have a fast front 7 that creates chaos and overwhelms you at times. So that was taken away from them a little bit by the weather conditions. The other thing I'll say is this, Ahmed, I think it's the first time all year where the 49ers D-line did not win the battle. It's the first time I could say that. Disruption was very little through the game, and the size of the Ravens and their offensive line, I think, wore on them a little bit, let alone, the first time you see this Lamar Jackson attack, you can get a little bit on your heels because you're going, oh, is it the speed sweep? Oh, is it up the middle, Ingram? Oh, is it, the read option on the edge with Lamar Jackson? Oh, is it just a pure quarterback keeper where they're going to lead block for him around the edge? There's so many different things they do to kind of keep your head on a swivel that they can take your aggressive nature away from you. And I do think that the Baltimore Ravens did that to the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers kind of nothing special on the defensive side of the ball. They kind of played how they always play. To me, that's the Lamar Jackson factor. He's going to make teams simple because they're worried about the run fits. And if you do crazy things, then you could be in trouble as far as, we blitzed 4 guys over here, and now they ran this way with Lamar Jackson, and he's got 3 lead blockers. We're outnumbered, and all of a sudden it's a 60-yard gain. So you'll always have to be worried about that. That's the beauty of guys like Lamar Jackson. But I think, really at the end of the day, it was a very equal matchup. It really was.
You thought the 49ers were faster. They're
the more faster team. They're the faster team, side. Definitely, without a doubt. And even in their offense as a whole. I mean, the Ravens' offense is not fast. There's 2 people that are fast: Hollywood Brown and Lamar Jackson. Everybody else is kind of predicated on size. Okay. Ingram, he's explosive, but he's not like an 80-yard game breaker kind of guy, right? He's 20, 30 yards, smash it up in there for a hard 5, hard 10. Right. They have the 3 tight ends on the field. That's how they want to play. And I think that's the thing that jumped out to me more than anything, let alone, hey, the game was very even, as I said. The strip sack fumble of Jimmy Garoppolo to set up the short touchdown for the Ravens. They got a 2-play drive there. He throws the touchdown to Mark Andrews. That's his go-to guy down there. That kind of swung the momentum into Baltimore's favor. I really felt like from pretty much there on out for the game. Early on, I felt like the 49ers had the advantage a little bit.
Yeah,
quick start, got a 3-and-out, or not a 3-and-out, but a 6-and-out on the Ravens. But I think ultimately what the difference is Lamar Jackson. It really was. He was the best player on the field, and some of the things they do with him schematically in the run game really puts you in a bind. And I think that's kind of the one thing that jumped out to me more than anything as far as getting into the X and O's.
Okay, so the 49ers really didn't put, and you noted this in watching the film, didn't put him in obvious passing situations that often, which makes it even more difficult to defend Lamar Jackson.
When you get into second 4 and second and 5, exactly right. They can do both. And then they got you by the balls, for lack of a better phrase, when that happens. Because now it's, they can throw a bootleg. They can run it up the middle with Ingram. He can keep it around the edge as far as the run game and the read option. And again, I didn't go back and look at the numbers. I just go from my gut. And as I'm watching the game, I felt like, man, especially early on, the first half of the game, man, Baltimore was in a lot of 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5. And that's big for Baltimore because, hey, if there's one detriment to Baltimore is you do want to get them in 3rd and 10. Lamar Jackson, we know he's a good passer and everything like that, but they're not built to play that way. Sure. And they don't have that much of an intricate, detailed passing scheme where it's going to pick you apart play after play after play.
So you noted the edge rushing from Baltimore. Do you want to get into that a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
What specifically they did, Greg Roman? I mean, a lot of praise this year to go into Greg Roman.
Definitely.
And how he's developed this offense, how he's making that next step with Lamar Jackson. But it's not just Lamar Jackson. Right. It's how they use their other players, Mark Ingram, some of the blocking schemes to get that wide open running route.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's of course extremely creative. And what do? I mean, they got people motioning before the snap, and then they have this huge hulking offensive line, and they have these both running backs, Mark Ingram and Gus Edwards, who they just want to come downhill and smash people. That's all they want to do. So you're worried about that, and oh man, we got to hold our ground because this offensive line's big and powerful. They'll move us back. They move San Francisco back as much as any team I've seen move San Francisco all year long. But it's really the other little creative designs they do on the edge. And I know we have a little clip of it, right, from one of my social media, my little Instagram posts we put out there today, and I think this is worth it.
On the YouTube audience, you're pointing something out.
Yep, I'm pointing. Well, it's tight end to the right, and what they really do to you more than not, of course, they force you to play the inside run, and now he keeps the ball off the edge. And within keeping the ball off the edge, like the weak side tight end who's in like a weak fullback position, he comes around the edge to the strong side. So now Lamar Jackson, who fakes it up the middle to Mark Ingram, has a tight end, let's say Hayden Hurst in front of him, all right, who now is going to lead out the back door where Lamar Jackson is going to fake to Ingram, keep the ball, and now another gap is created. And that's where it can stress a defense out. So Jaquiski Tartt, he thinks he's the edge defender, and all of a sudden, no, you're not the edge defender, all right? The tight end's there to block you. And then also the great thing about this, if you could rewind this maybe one more time here, is the tight end, look at Mark Andrews to the left of the screen here. He's lined up as a tight end, right? Now, when he first goes, he goes downfield like he's going to run a route. So that takes Richard Sherman away. As far as Richard Sherman has to respect it. He doesn't know if Lamar Jackson's going to throw the ball out of that fake or not. So he attacks upfield, right? Now that takes Richard Sherman out of edge support in the run game. And now you have another tight end coming around the edge with Jaquiski Tartt who's going, oh no, not only do I have to tackle Lamar Jackson, but there's an extra gap here. And now I have to make a decision on whether I want to go inside this tight end or outside this tight end and hopefully make a play. And they just have a lot of different little ways of doing that stress you out. And of course, the beauty of that is the formations they have, some of the players they have, and more importantly, just that big overpowering offensive line, how they can just grind you out with a straight ahead run game. And then he keeps the ball on the edge, and he's as electric as it gets when you put him in those situations.
Ravens got 4.7 yards average on first down. So, yeah, it sets you up into a 2nd and 5
situation. Yeah, there you go. Right, right.
Down the field. I got a couple numbers that I want to point out
to you please do.
On some 49ers guys on the defensive side of the ball. Richard Sherman allowed 1 catch on 2 targets for 2 yards. So this year, this is from PFF. Yeah. He's allowing half a receiving yard per snap in coverage, the lowest of any qualifying corner.
Wow.
Do you think that's him? You think that's scheme?
I think it's more scheme. Yes, yes, I do. I mean, they're a big zone football team first off, and they have the best pass rusher in the sport. So yeah, I don't sit there. Richard Sherman's still a good player. I don't sit there and go, oh my gosh, this is still the Richard Sherman I saw from 4 and 5 years ago in Seattle.
And how about Fred Warner? You mentioned him.
He's a beast.
He was the NFL Player of the Week last week. I think Defensive Player of the Week,
right.
NFC. Had a game-high 11 tackles, leads the 49ers with 92 tackles now through 12 games.
Right.
Third-round pick in 2018 out of BYU. Played 99% of the snaps last year, so did a lot of on-the-job training as a rookie. Played 100% of the snaps on Sunday. 9th time out of 12 games he's done that. What does Fred Warner do on tape? that makes him so special.
Well, he's got a great nose for the football, but I mean, just envision this. He's more of like he's the Bobby Wagner of this defense, which is great sideline to sideline speed. If he sees a hole in the middle there, he just runs and fills it. Like in the NFL, we would call it shoot your gun. Like, hey, if you see the running back and you see a big hole and you think, okay, he's going to run through that hole, don't sit there and wait for him.
Yeah.
Like, beat him to the hole, hit him in the hole, make it a tackle for a loss. So, his athleticism, and really whenever you talk about a fast defense, usually when you talk about a fast defense, it starts with the middle linebackers because that can take a defense to another level. I mean, we know corners are fast, safeties are fast. Okay, this team has a good, edge rushers. Okay, that's really fast. But then when you go into a defense that goes like, holy shit, these guys they're all over the field, like Seattle.
Yep.
That's when the middle linebacker play comes in. And they had, of course, Bobby Wagner, Cam Chancellor. Same thing here. This is what they built. They built a Seattle defense. It was Fred Warner, and it was supposed to be Quan Alexander who got hurt. So that was the big issue. Now, he is a phenomenal football player. Now, this would be my big thing and my big takeaway from the game more than anything. I do think that the 49ers played a little too simple. Like, you can't just sit back and play normal defenses right now against the Ravens. At some point, you have to force their hand a little bit and take some chances, creatively, I should say. Because we talked about, getting into, 2nd and 4 and 2nd and 5. To beat the Ravens, you're going to have to force some 2nd and long situations.
Right.
They never really got them into too many obvious passing situations throughout the game. There was a few here and there. Is there a risk
reward here?
There is.
Where you're thinking like, okay, we can blitz, we can do that, but that could open up some lanes for Lamar.
That's what everyone chickens out from.
Gashes us for
exactly right. That's exactly why everyone plays vanilla against them, because they're afraid of that. But at some point, somebody's going to show the proper blitz and formula to go, oh, this is pretty good. Like, yeah, if they call the right play here, they might gash us, but it'll only be for 10 yards. It won't be for 50. Yeah. And no one's come out with that yet. I think Pittsburgh probably has that a little bit in their DNA, and they showed that in the first game. It's hard to emulate what they do, but I do think you have to try to force their hand. The other thing where I think the 49ers dropped the ball a little bit just because of the situation and the elements of the game, I would have liked to see them go to more bare front, just 5 D linemen across the board. Call the bluff with the Baltimore Ravens. Let's see you throw the ball, okay? Throw the ball against us in this day with this rainy and everything like that.
Sure.
That would be the other thing. The Ravens did that to the 49ers, that's for sure. They were like, oh, we're not just going to let you dominate us and run up the middle all game long. They put a lot of 5D lineman sets in there and covered all 5 guys. That'd be one thing I would take away from the 49ers. But other than that, it was a very evenly played football game. And like I told you, on both sides of the ball, and we'll get into the other side, I do think the rain handicapped the 49ers more than it did the Ravens.
So you think if this game is played again, even in Baltimore,
the
49ers on the road in Baltimore, but it's not raining,
right?
You think the 49ers would win that?
I think I would. I still think I would take them. I don't feel comfortable about that. It's going to be close either way.
Give them the edge.
I would.
Dry conditions.
Well, yeah, and let's flip it over to the other side. I mean, because my big point would be this. Like, the Ravens, it's all about the run game. And then they throw the ball just to keep you honest. And, okay, they're playing such run defensive looks that we have to throw the ball against this. Like, we'd be stupid not to. Yeah. Like, this is easy. This is pitch and catch time for Lamar. Lamar will tear this up. So that's really when they get into passing the football, with occasional bootleg and things like that. The 49ers offense is tied together with their play-action pass and boot game. That's what makes it a special offense. Shanahan uses that to keep people off of his run game. He uses it to create a lot of explosive plays in the pass game in general, and their most explosive plays all year in a lot of games are because of the play-action pass. That was all taken away because of the elements. It just, again, it was not great to throw the football. Both quarterbacks had moments of losing control of it, and I think both coordinators were afraid to call aggressive passing plays because of the wind and the rain in general.
Yeah, you wonder how much of that is the 49ers knowing they have one of the best defenses out there. We got a rainy day. And
well, yeah, they both play it like that, right.
Because you said the turnover was a turning point with the strip sack on Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Where the game turned.
Right.
They still were able to run the ball, the 49ers, against the Ravens. It was Raheem Mostert, 19 carries, 146 yards, 1 touchdown. Second most rushing yards of any running back this week. I thought it was interesting. I mean, Kyle, what he does with all his running backs.
It's amazing.
I looked at the roster.
Yeah.
They have 52.
Yeah.
They have only one non-running back on the team. It's Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Mostert had 74% of the snaps. Tevin Coleman just 18% of the snaps. I don't think that was due to injury, although it might be something we don't know.
Yeah.
But they really can go with a hot hand. I think they're getting Matt Breida back this week.
Yeah, that'll be huge.
What they can do in the running game and play the hot hand is so unique, and I don't know that we've seen a team be able to do it with that many different players.
No.
From week to week.
No, that's the Shanahan, family heritage, Mike did it in Denver. Of course, he had Terrell Davis there for a few years where he was the man, but, he had other years where we were like, who is this 1,000-yard rusher? Who is this 1,000-yard rusher? Yeah. Who the hell is this guy? And then they left Denver, and we never heard of them again. So the system is special. And, yeah, Shanahan had a good game plan. They came out and tried to throw the football. The first drive of the game, they have the 4th and 2. They throw the touchdown pass to Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen more of that. That was one thing that if I take away from the 49ers in the game, I know the elements were bad, but, man, Baltimore had so many people so close to the line of scrimmage. I would have liked to see them throw some one-on-one shots up to Deebo Samuel or Emmanuel Sanders.
Samuel only had one other catch for 8 yards after that 33-yard touchdown.
Right. So I think, again, I would have liked to have seen that. They were definitely daring them to throw the football. And then the other thing the 49ers did really to run the ball on the Baltimore Ravens, and this is what Cleveland did earlier in the year when they gashed Baltimore Ravens, is they ran on the edge of the defense. You don't want to run up the middle against Baltimore. You're not going to win that battle. They got more 320-pounders than any team in football. So you don't want to fight them in a phone booth. You want to make it a space game. Sure. And I think Kyle Shanahan realized that. And that's why if you really look at the majority of their rushing yards, they're all on the edge of the defense. I think there's maybe one run I counted where Mostert ran between the guard-tackle gap. Everything else was outside. I think that's a smart way to go. Team speed on the Ravens is not their strength. Their linebackers are not very good. Their middle linebackers, they're not very fast. And I think he saw that and took advantage of it.
There are some numbers for Jimmy Garoppolo that I thought were kind of interesting. So they did pressure him. Yeah. They wanted to bring the pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yes.
PFF says that on the 26 dropbacks that Jimmy Garoppolo had, he was pressured, blitzed on 21 of them, so it's 81% of the time.
There was 5 and 6 people at the line of scrimmage the whole game, as I told you. It just started off, yes.
So it makes it even more impressive that Mike McGlinchey back in there did not allow a quarterback pressure.
Wow.
So he is certainly one of the top linemen for the 49ers, but in the league as well. And it was funny, when I was at Notre Dame, there are so many players on that Notre Dame team.
Yes.
And that really appreciate what Mike McGlinchey brought leadership-wise to that team.
Right.
He is so well respected by all of his former teammates and all his current teammates in 49ers. And good to see him back on the field, good health again, and playing well. But no quarterback threw into tight coverage more than Jimmy Garoppolo this week. 29% of his passes were into tight coverage.
Yeah.
So the Ravens did a good job of draping on the 49ers receivers, which you'd like to see him get some separation. You'd like Deebo Samuel to use some of that speed.
Well,
you'd like to see more of that because Jimmy G has to throw into tight windows.
Well, yeah, definitely. And I think it plays into like what we're saying. First of all, they were throwing into tight coverage because there was a lot of short passes. And I already told you the Baltimore Ravens, their whole defense was within 8 yards of the line of scrimmage. Yeah. So normally you see a free safety and you're a quarterback and you're walking up to put your hands underneath the center and the free safety's 15, 20 yards deep. And then at the snap, he might even be 20, 25 yards deep. Well, Baltimore just doesn't do that. They contest everything. They don't let you have short throws. So, one, they can play man-to-man at a very high level. Two, what they did more than anything is a lot of creative blitz zones where, it's 5 people rushing and then a 6-man creative zone. Oh, there's 3 receivers to the right, and they know where to drop guys off and how to pass it off and what routes to look for according to, if this guy does that, that guy does this, so I'll be ready for it. They're very well coached that way, and I think that's why, of course, he was thrown into some tight windows. Added the fact that, again, if I was a play caller in that game yesterday, I'd be scared too. I would be scared. They'd call aggressive down-the-middle pass plays. You know, hey, your running back slips as he's going to pick up a blitzer because it's wet. All of a sudden, your quarterback's getting ready to throw, and he gets hit, and the ball flies in the air. Interception. Like, things like that can ruin a game like that yesterday. Sure. So you are going to be conservative. I understand that. And I just would have liked to have seen them take a few shots when they knew they had man-to-man. Just throw it out there down the field, give your guy a shot. But, you know, overall, it was a really good game. And I really think, you know, that's what disappoints me is the weather took away from some of the schematics. That's where I was a little disappointed. We would have seen more on both sides of the ball if it was a clean slate, where I don't have anything like ultra crazy to talk to you about on either side of the ball, as you've heard. Like, there wasn't one thing that I just went, oh, wow, this is crazy interesting.
Sure.
The Ravens kept 5 people at the line of scrimmage for the most part, played bare front, blitzed, pressure Jimmy G when he did want to drop back, and really just tried to overpower the 49ers inside and have a lot of people around the football. And, you know, ultimately, like I said, the game was very even. And Lamar Jackson's ability just to move the chains there at the end really was the difference in the football game.
Do you know why both teams kept it vanilla? Because they were saving something
for the rematch.
The Super Bowl rematch,
yes.
Which we will see. There is a 17% chance that these two teams will meet up again.
17.
All right, so we're done with that.
Yeah, we're done with that.
The deep dive is done. Ravens get the victory, although just by 3 points. They've lost 2 times this year. Have the Ravens? They're the 1 seed now. Do you remember the 2 teams they've lost?
Well, they lost to Cleveland, and then they lost to hold on, don't tell me. I know this. Oh, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They were 2-2.
Right.
After they lost
2-2, and they've reeled off 8 in a row.
The Browns beat them 40-25.
Yeah, it was dominant.
By the Browns.
Yes, it was.
Yep. Okay. All right. Yep. So that one's done. So now let's take a look a little bit around the AFC because there was a pretty big one on Sunday Night Football, where the Houston Texans got the 28-22 win over the New England Patriots. Here's the playoff picture for those watching on YouTube right now. You got the division leaders in Baltimore with the 1 seed, New England 10-2, the 2 seed, Houston 8-4, the 3, Kansas City 8-4, the 4. Wild card teams right now: Buffalo at 9-3, Pittsburgh at 7-5. Wow, how about the job by Pittsburgh? We'll get to them.
Yeah,
a little bit later on. Titans get a win over the Colts, so they are 7-5. They're in the hunt. Oakland at 6-6 in the hunt. Colts in the hunt as well at 6-6. So you want to talk about what we saw with Houston and in New England last night? Because there was some really cool stuff. Deshaun Watson continues to impress. My preseason MVP pick.
Ooh,
I don't know if you remember me saying that.
You know, I do now that you said it. And I mean, that was a good pick. He's not going to win it. But
I don't think he'll win it, but
he
could be the second guy.
He can be up there in the voting.
Here's one of the tweets that we got when we asked people to send in their tweets. This is from Curly Asian 85. Deshaun's unbelievable night against New England, and that crazy play from Hopkins to Deshaun Watson. And then he has a Thanos tweet, and he's saying that Thanos is Deshaun Watson. Yes. They're the same person now.
He beat the Avengers, a.k.a. the New England Patriots, and Thanos has taken over.
Yep. I know all about Thanos. He's an Endgame.
You don't know
Avengers
shit.
Endgame Marvel character.
Yep. Right. Have you seen the movie yet?
No.
No, right.
He's in the Superman universe.
Right.
And Batman. They're all together, right? Is that the same thing?
No, you know you're wrong about that. You're just trying to piss me off.
I knew if I kept talking, I'd mess it up.
You're very funny.
Okay, so should we get in it? Because I think that play was one of the best things we saw in week number 13.
Yeah, you want to talk about the play we saw, the trick play. The trick play is what you're talking about? Yep, all right, so let's do it. Best of week 13 presented by Verizon. Now we have the best of week 13 presented by Verizon, the network more people rely on, and that includes the Sims family, because, man, do we rely on it. That was the best. Oh, I'm ahead of myself. Okay, the Texans trick play.
Yes.
That was nasty.
Yeah, Ryan Clare tweeting in, that was nasty, and so we want to talk about what happened. And apparently, what we've heard is Bill O'Brien said that he got a piece of paper from a notebook, not unlike what you write on for your deep dive.
Yes.
And it came from Deshaun, Duke Johnson, and Hopkins.
Right.
And they diagrammed this play out and said, we want to run this play at some point.
I feel like I've seen this play before.
I think they had too.
Yes.
I forget where.
Yeah, no, I can't think exactly where it was too. I want to say somebody did it last year in a regular season football game. I want to say actually I thought the Bears did this at one point a few years back, maybe Mitch Trubisky's rookie year. But either way, here's the beauty of the play, okay? Deshaun Watson in the shotgun, Duke Johnson to his right. All right, there's 2 receivers to his left. The slot receiver is DeAndre Hopkins, who's very close to the left tackle there. Anybody watching on YouTube right now, .com/NBC Sports, would be able to see this. DeAndre Carter is on the right in a tight split, and you see the tight end Fells there lined up. So right before the snap, Deshaun Watson, he's going to get the ball. He's going to start to motion DeAndre Carter, number 14, in like, hey, I might give you the speed sweep. So he says, set hut, snaps the ball, okay, and there goes DeAndre Carter. Nope, we're not going to give him the ball. Instead, we're going to give the ball to Duke Johnson, who's the running back to the right of Deshaun Watson. He gives it to him, who then follows it up by giving the ball to DeAndre Hopkins, who's in front of him. All this is happening behind the line of scrimmage, as you may. And then after Deshaun Watson gave the ball to Duke Johnson, he continues out to the right, like he's going to carry out his bootleg fake. And then that's where DeAndre Hopkins gets on the edge, and the Patriots have it pretty well defended as far as that part of it. But they weren't expecting this last part, the ability to pitch the ball to Deshaun Watson. DeAndre Hopkins really makes a forward lateral, but because there was no forward pass and all these handoffs happened behind the line of scrimmage, he could do it either way he wanted. He could have flipped it backwards, thrown it overhand. It didn't matter. He ends up tossing it, pitching it to his right. It ends up being a forward pass. Deshaun Watson does a great job at catching the ball and then being an athlete, snagging it out of the air and diving in for a touchdown. And that was extremely creative. The type of thing you need to do against New England, the type of thing New England does to other people in just about every big game we watched. I mean, we saw them do it to the Philadelphia Eagles just 2 weeks ago.
They probably wouldn't do that play with Tom Brady, I would guess.
Well, no, that play has gone, yes. I don't know if they could have ever done that with Tom Brady. But either way, I give Bill O'Brien a lot of credit for breaking that play in a big situation to really kind of put the nail in the coffin in the game altogether and give the Texans a 28-9 lead there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And that was the best of Week 13 presented by Verizon.
Layout. Good.
Good.
That's
good.
good. That's
Thank
good.
you.
That's TV.
That was all right.
Right.
Is that good?
Layout.
Good.
It's
good.
like
good.
once you've delivered to the sponsor, you lay out and then
Bam.
make the edit. You were right. You were right. Watson said that he and A.J. McCarron saw Bears run the trick play.
See? I'm good,
They
man.
took it to Tim
I
Kelly.
am good.
Watson, when DeAndre Hopkins saw the play, he said he was definitely on board with it. So they saw it, they stole it, they put it on the
Stole it from the Bears. Stole it from one of my buddies, Dow Logans, who's the quarterback coach of the Jets now. I know that was one of his plays. And this thing right here, steel trap.
You don't forget anything.
So not about football. I forget a lot of other stuff.
You eliminate everything else from your brain. It's all football.
The important things.
Birthdays for your wife and your kids.
That's questionable. Questionable.
So other things from that game. I thought it was. We do have to talk about the Patriots offense,
right?
Because they did score touchdowns their last 3 possessions. Do you throw that out?
Well,
do you feel like that's not? Did they figure anything out, or was it just Houston got off to that big lead and kind of let the foot
Houston
off the gas?
Exactly. I mean, hey, 20. To me, the last 2 touchdowns, the competitive part of the football game was over. It really was. The Texans aren't playing their normal defense anymore. They're really just trying to hang on. Now, they got very relaxed there, especially in the last drive.
Yeah.
I mean, they decided not to tackle people at some times. I mean, James White had that one play where he caught a little flare pass, and it was like, what, is anybody going to tackle him, or are we just going to play 2-man touch here and let him run for like 20 or 30 yards? But yeah, I don't put a whole lot of stock into those last 2 drives.
They may have been worn down a bit because you look at the total plays.
Sure, right.
The Patriots ran 87 plays. The Texans had 56.
Yeah, right.
You had Zach Cunningham, McKinney, and Merciless for the Texans. Their 3 linebackers played all 87 snaps. So they might have been run down.
They could have been, definitely. Well, the emotions of the game are over, though. When you're up 28-9 and there's 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, you are going to take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit. And your defensive coordinator changes the way he plays, too. He's not going to play it like, it's a normal competitive game, because now he's going, well, I'd be stupid to bring this blitz here and leave my guy on an island and do this type of thing here to where maybe he throws up a jump ball and their guy gets it and walks in for an end zone, in the touchdown. For an easy 6 points, whatever it may be. So, teams get conservative. They try to drop back, they try to make people throw the ball underneath, and then they rally and make the tackles. And, of course, New England never gives up. We know that. They're the ultimate 4-quarter football team. But, I'm not going to sit here and go, hey, Ahmed, the last 2 drives, they made me feel better about the Patriots. They're good to go. No, they're not. They have issues all across the board with their whole offense. And I think the first thing I want to say is, the Texans' defense is different now that Bradley Roby's back. The fact that they got Vernon Hargreaves off of waivers from Tampa. Justin Reed being back at safety, that makes their secondary pretty freaking legit, along with Jonathan Joseph. So that's going to give them a fighting chance. We're seeing some people in their front seven emerge a little bit as disruptors. And then I think the big thing more than anything is, bad execution by the Patriots offense, not top-end talent at certain positions, young guys trying to find their way, and, Tom Brady not playing that great. I think it's all of it. It's not just like one thing I can look at. And Brady doesn't get like a free pass here. He definitely doesn't. There was plays there to be had in the game the other night that he didn't deliver on. Are there other plays where receivers screwed him over and him? Yes, they did, certainly. Yeah. Texans did a really good job. They kind of they really ran a New England game plan. A lot of crazy looks on defense. Doubled Julian Edelman on a lot of big passing situations. Weren't going to let him beat them. Sent a lot of different disguises and different looking coverages. A lot of blitz zone, or what I call blitz change, right? Blitz change is like, hey, it looks like we're going to rush 4, but all of a sudden 3 people blitz and then 3 people drop out. It still ends up being a 4-man rush, but it was a blitz and it looks confusing and people are dropping in different areas to where it can cause confusion for an offense. And a guy like Tom Brady, I don't care how old you are or how many reps you are, those things can make you hesitate and pat the ball in extra time. It's hard for Josh McDaniels to get into a play-calling groove when you change the defenses up as much as Romeo Crennel did. So I got to give them a lot of credit to start with.
You definitely got some tweets about Tom Brady, people wondering what's going on there.
Yeah.
It was 24, 47, 51%, 3 touchdowns, the 1 interception. Scott Miller says he wants to hear about the Brady temper tantrum, and there were actually a couple of them. There's one time he almost threw his helmet.
Yes, right.
It looked like.
Yeah.
We've seen Brady get fired up on the sidelines before, so
yeah.
This is not unusual.
No.
But then there was the other time when we saw Brady talking to his wide receivers. Edelman was over there. I think Sanu was over there.
Right.
He was telling him, we got to play faster.
Yeah.
I did some lip reading on that. We're so robotic. He
right.
said, we're very robotic. We got to play faster. And I don't know if you read anything into this. Mohamed Sanu played just 19 of the 87 snaps. And here's a tweet from Gigi McDonald, some criticism of the Pats wide receivers for running wrong routes. So there seemed to be confusion. Brady was mad. What do you think it comes down to?
Well, he's frustrated. He's used to being part of a well-oiled machine, and they're not a well-oiled machine. I mean, nothing's well-oiled about them right now. But, they're not. They don't run the ball and dominate that way. Their pass protection is good, not great. Their talent on the outside, is good, not great. Julian Edelman's really good. He's not a Hall of Fame wide receiver. I know everybody was trying to put him in the Hall of Fame last year. He's not. He's an NFL legend, and he's just a part of a great offense and has a great role with it, and he takes advantage of that to its fullest for the most part. Hey, the first drive of the game, they're down in the red zone, 3rd and goal. Brady's going to throw a ball in the back of the end zone to Philip Dorsett, who's supposed to be going across the back end line and continue. He does. He kind of stops. I think he sees Brady move, and he thinks, oh, no, Brady's going to scramble. Let me try to make myself available. And Brady thinks, hey, you're supposed to continue on the back end line, and throws the ball. And now it looks like he threw a bad pass. And really, no, Philip Dorsett kind of him. He should have kept going. So is there some of that? Definitely, without a doubt. There are guys like Jacoby Myers, still learning the offense and all that. Now, hey, listen, the play he said, I know exactly the play where he said, we got to play faster. Jacoby Myers was open really fast. I want to go, Tom, no, you need to go a little faster there. He was open. He ran a slot out route. He was open, but Tom didn't throw it.
You don't like the way he looks in the pocket.
Well, that's my biggest issue with Tom right now. If you want to just talk about where I see slippage, and this is where I saw it a little at the end of last year too, and this is why I made him my number 9 quarterback, because there was inklings of this. Now, Tom Brady's still really awesome. Don't get me wrong here, everybody. I mean, he really is. He still can make a lot of big throws. But what I would be concerned about with more than anything is the jumpiness in the pocket for no reason at times is the thing that I think is the most concerning. And, there's times where, hey, let me jib it for a second, okay?
You're jibbing it?
I'm going to jib
up?
one time.
Okay.
Because this is where Brady was amazing. And he still is amazing, but he has a few little cracks in the armor as far as this is concerned, where Brady for years, you saw him, right? Oh, there's pressure, and he never seems to be phased. And it's just, shoom, first down. Or, oh, here they come, shoom, he just step up. It was effortless. Now, there's plays, a handful every game, where there's a defensive end who I wouldn't even consider it pressure yet. And he's doing this already and moving out of the way. And it's like, whoa, where are you going? Just stay right in there. And within doing that, people are becoming open or coming open. And because he makes such a drastic move and then checks to see if he's protected, by the time he gets regathered and looks down the field, they're not open anymore. Yeah. So he's already missed that opportunity. So I would say, there was like 4 or 5 snaps during the game like that too, where he had people that they're going to get a nice, chunk of yardage, 10, 15, 20-yard gains. And because he's, and again, he's older, yes. He has been hit a lot this year. And when you do get hit that much, of course, you're going to be conscious of what's around you. So I understand all that. I'm not trying to be a jerk.
Is, though, last night, the offensive line actually did a pretty good job.
That's where I was going to go. There really wasn't like when as the game got a little later, there were a few moments where they went around the edge, and made some nice moves. That kid, Jacoby Martin, number 54, had a few pressures and sacks. But for the most part, yes, the protection was pretty good. And that's just one little flaw I definitely see with his game more than anything right now. And that's always something that jumps out to me when guys get later up in their career. They become jumpy in the pocket. It happened to Eli Manning 2 years ago. And Tom's isn't as bad as Eli Manning. Don't get me wrong there. It's not. But there's still moments. And when your offense isn't good, and I sit down and a guy like me watches the film, it magnifies itself right now because, they're not as good, and they only have a certain amount of opportunities to make some big plays and things happen.
Sure.
And they can't waste them on things like that at times, too. So, it's really an all-around effort. O-line, run game not as good. The receivers do mess up at times.
Divvy up the percentage of blame. If you got a whole pie. Quarterback play. You have wide receiver play. You have coaching.
Yeah.
Who gets the biggest slice of that pie? The blame pie.
I mean, I think that I would probably blame
offensive line.
Like the receivers and the receivers more than anything right now. I think I get it. I think they're probably the most to blame.
They get
probably the biggest chunk of the pie, followed by like Brady and the O-line together.
Okay.
I think they're there. If you made me divvy it up that way. Now listen, the coaching. Listen, you're not going to hear me get on the coaching very much. It's coached to a T almost weekly, all right? And, that's just where it's unfortunate. And it's interesting with the Patriots because I don't think we've ever seen them really struggle this time of the year. It's December, and we're going, what's the deal with this offense? Usually we say that in like late September, early October, and this time of the year we're going,
they turned it on.
The Patriots are going. Here we go.
Right. One quick thing before we move on from this game. I do think it's interesting because you said that the Patriots are approaching 85 Bears territory with that defense a couple weeks ago. It's still one of the best defenses in the league that we have seen in a while.
Yep.
But when you're paired up with some wide receivers like Houston has, I mean, Kenny Stills on that 35-yard touchdown just ran right by Jonathan Jones.
Right.
Because they're worried about Will Fuller, who can run by defensive backs, and DeAndre Hopkins, who can run by defensive backs. And so for as great as that Patriots defense is, it is striking to see the Houston Texans have 3 wide receivers who, man-to-man, are really tough for them to handle.
Really tough. Texans are going to, if they play again in a month in the playoffs, this game will go down to the wire. This is a tough matchup for the New England Patriots. And William Fuller, like you've heard me say, Hollywood Brown is the key to the Baltimore Ravens. William Fuller is the key to the Houston Texans because when they have him and you want to play man-to-man against them, oh my gosh, is that a scary 5-on-5 matchup then? Yeah. I mean, if you want to match up with Hopkins, Fuller, Stills, Fells, and Duke Johnson in the pass game, you better have some special 5 that can do that. And that's where it goes to the next level. And just to hit on that part of it, New England likes to play man-to-man. We know that. They played more zone in this game, especially early on, dabbled in it. And then as the game kind of got going, they got stuck in some man-to-man situations. So, first off, they, you know how I said they kind of did some New England things to New England. That's what the Texans did. What'd they do on their first touchdown pass? Got Duke Johnson matched up on Kyle Van Noy out of the backfield. How many times have we seen Tom Brady and James White do that to some other team's linebacker, right? So they do that. Another time they use a nice creative play design off of Deshaun Watson's talents where he fakes kind of the read option and they bootleg to the left and Daniel Fells is open. Boom, touchdown. But now you talk about your Kenny Stills play, right? So now now, at this point, they're down 14-3, and they're realizing, like, man, we can't sit back and play zone all game because Watson's going to just slowly tear us apart. He's too good. Well, now it becomes a big down, and they want to double DeAndre Hopkins. They're playing man-to-man on Will Fuller, and now Jonathan Jones has man-to-man coverage on the backside against Kenny Stills, like you said. Watson, it's a blitz look, but Billy O'Brien is expecting blitz. He keeps 6 men in to protect. Watson gets really deep in the pocket, lets kind of the pass rush come upfield, does a real aggressive step up, and then just goes, oh, I'm going to throw a dime. And that's where they're going to stress the Patriots out every time they play him because he is arguably the best deep ball thrower in football. And then along with those 3 weapons, and like you said, Fuller, it makes them really dangerous.
He can create that time. Deshaun Watson, he can create more time. And almost on that play, again, the 1 to 5 yards, he almost waited too long.
I know.
To throw that.
I know. When he first threw it, I was like, oh, the guy's going to be out of the end zone. He's not going to get it there in time.
He gave himself too much time. But the Texans 8-4 now with a huge win over the Patriots, who now fall to 10-2. So some people were wondering, is there anything else you want to hit on that one?
No, I think that's the big thing. Yeah. The Patriots blitz did not ruin the game like it has against most of these quarterbacks. You know, I thought NBC, we did a great job of showing the graveyard of teams' quarterbacks they've played. Yeah. You know, this is where it's weird with New England. I mean, of course New England's New England. I'm holding New England to a standard that's only New England is capable of being at, all right? So I'm not trying to be a hater on them. You know me, I always am like, New England would do this. Why doesn't this team do this? New England does that. I mean, they're the gold standard. But I think what's weird is the fact that here we are in December, and we're questioning their offense, which is a real question. And again, I'm hesitant about questioning it because I know that they can get it together. But then even with the defense, yes, it's been doing historic things. But yeah, let's not forget about some of the quarterbacks they've played. I mean, Luke Falk. You know, it's Luke Falk, it's Fitzpatrick, it's McCoy, down in Colt McCoy, with the Redskins. Yeah. It's Daniel Jones as a rookie. It's Sam Darnold again. It's Baker Mayfield. You know, it's the Eagles and Cowboys offenses that have struggled. I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but I just think this is the first real, complete, dangerous offense they've faced. And now they got the Kansas City Chiefs coming to town too, which should be interesting. But yeah, I'm just saying it's the first time in a long time in December that
we're saying that we got questions. They have time to figure it out.
All right, I'm done.
They've got time to figure it out.
I'm done talking.
You brought up the Kansas City.
They didn't let the blitz beat them. That was the big thing. They had answers to that.
You bring up the Kansas City Chiefs, and I thought they were pretty interesting too. With their victory over the Oakland Raiders, they get the win 40-9.
40-9.
We have a tweet from ManBearPig that says, "Seems like Mahomes is off despite the big win. What's up with him?" So Patrick Mahomes, 15 of 29 for 175 yards, 1 touchdown. So what do you think? What do you see when you watch Patrick Mahomes, one of your favorite quarterbacks in the NFL?
Yeah.
You say you'd still take him over Lamar Jackson if you were starting a team.
Well, yeah, because I don't even know how to design a Lamar Jackson offense, so that's above my pay grade. I know how to design a Patrick Mahomes offense. That's more in my wheelhouse.
So do you think he's off? Do you think that's fair?
I don't think it's him. You know, I think again this is more of a inventory of plays and variety of attack for Kansas City. That's the biggest issue. We saw the Chargers really give them a tough time. And again, we saw the Raiders give them a tough time. They play similar defensive schemes where they want to drop back in a lot of zone and make you throw the ball underneath. Or if you do play man against Kansas City is not all that creative with their route trees. So you can play areas against Kansas City. Like, who was our ManBearPig? Is that who had it? Your boy El Ray?
ManBearPig.
ManBearPig. Like the thing that you can play them to certain areas and certain formations. So let's just say this real quick. Can you envision this? Travis Kelce to the left, 3 receivers to the right? Yeah. They love that formation. Mahomes is in the shotgun. They love to do this. Like send the 3 receivers to the right. The inside one runs like a deep cross. The middle run runs like a deep post. And then the one on the outside just runs a go route. And then Travis Kelce comes underneath as a shallow cross. So it's like, hey, we're attacking you deep. Yeah, that's great, but the other team knows that too. So you can almost play areas with them at time. Plus, if you do play man-to-man, a lot of it is just like, let me run next to this guy the whole time. He's not like running a post, a corner, and a post, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm juked out of my jock strap here. I can't stay with the guy. So I think those are my issues with the Kansas City Chiefs that way. it's more about their players than their plays. Andy likes to attack you. He puts a lot of window dressing before the snap. But ultimately, when the ball snapped, a lot of guys end up in the same places they always do. And as long as you don't fall for the window dressing, you're going to be okay.
So they didn't need a whole lot of heroics from Patrick Mahomes to win this against the Raiders, who John Gruden, 2 weeks ago, we were giving him Coach of the Year.
Yeah,
and
right.
Since then, he has not scored a touchdown, and they've lost a couple. They're getting blown out against the Chiefs, and we do have a tweet also from your boy El Ray.
What up, El Ray?
El Ray, he's your boy apparently.
He is. We're boys.
What's up with the Raiders being blown out 2 weeks in a row after being right behind Kansas City for first in the division? Derek Carr was not good.
No.
It was funny, interesting. Earlier in the week, Jack Del Rio's former coach said, I think he was talking on ESPN, said that he has yet to see Derek Carr play well in cold weather. And Derek Carr kind of shot back that, I didn't know it was an individual game. I thought it was a team game, and you were with me some of those games that we didn't play well in cold weather.
Yeah.
But the fact remains that it seems like in cold weather he has some struggles. He was 20 of 30 for 222 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions in the game.
Yeah. Well, I think it's fair, first off.
Yeah.
I've yet to see him play well in cold weather, too. And, yeah, Jack Del Rio was there, but he was not the one making the throws on that Thursday night against Kansas City when he played like crap in that game a few years back and Jack Del Rio was the head coach. And I think those are real questions. I mean, that's fine. I mean, Drew Brees has the stigma of not being able to throw outside of the dome. Like, if Drew Brees has to play on the road in the NFC playoffs, it's trouble. I mean, there's a reason he has that stigma, because he's struggled in those situations. So that's a fair thing to say about Derek Carr.
And I guess you're hearing it more because the question becomes, is Derek Carr the guy long term?
Well, that's the big question.
Raiders?
You're right, and I don't know. And when you got a cycle like Gruden as your head coach, that's a flip of the coin. It depends on the week and the day.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately, what's wrong with the Raiders? This is it. The Raiders have to play to a specific formula. They're not that talented yet to where they're just going to go, oh, if we make a few mistakes, we're so good it won't matter. We'll make it happen. No. How did we see Raiders win football games? High percentage passes, little dink and dunk 5- and 6-yard passes, run the ball a lot, control the clock. That's really what they've done all year. And then on defense, they just try not to make the big mistake. They kind of just they hope you make the mistake. We're going to kind of play bend, don't break. We're going to be sound. And that's fine. They've gotten away with it in a lot of games. But, in a game like yesterday, when you throw an interception early and things like that to a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, they can put you down 14-0 in a hurry. So I think that's the big thing, is that just the Raiders still don't have big-time difference makers. They're on the right track. I think they're a year away from being like a legit pain in the ass in the NFL. But any of the games, and I'm just going to pull up the schedule just to make sure, like my point, though, I just think about games of when they upset the Indianapolis Colts or the Chicago Bears. They ran the ball and controlled the clock.
Well,
they still
do that.
Yeah, they still do that
every game. Josh Jacobs was over 100 yards again. He's the first Raiders rookie to go over 1,000 in a season. So he might be the biggest bright spot that the Raiders have had.
He is the biggest bright spot. Yes, he is. But they're not built to be down 21-0 or then 24-0. Sure. That's my biggest point. Let alone they don't have the defensive firepower yet to match up to some of the more high-octane offenses in the sport. And Kansas City's a tough matchup for them. They just have more talent than them right now, and the Raiders are young, and they still need, a few defensive linemen and things like that. So I think that's really ultimately what's happened. The score in the Jets game is misleading. The game was closer than what that says, okay? It really is. The Raiders blew some opportunities in that game, and it looked like because of the cold weather. Derek Carr didn't play horrible last week in the Jet game. Now, yesterday against the Chiefs, he made some monumental mistakes, not seeing the throw to Tyrann Mathieu, intercepted it on the first drive of the game, and then he throws a ball into double coverage that becomes a pick six from Juan Thornhill.
Juan Thornhill taken back the other way. He just didn't see him in the middle of the field. All right, so it's an improvement. It's a step in the right direction for the Raiders, though. I mean, from where they were last year to where they are this year.
That's where the NFL is crazy. I mean, I think if a lot of people looked at the Raiders and they went, they're going to be 6-6 and have a chance to make the playoffs early in the year, all the Raiders fans would be like, sign me up, I'm good. But the problem is they got to 6-4, and then everybody started going, could we win a playoff game? Are we going to win a playoff game this year? And you want to be like, no. Let's just try to get in the playoffs first. We're not quite there yet.
So that is kind of a look at some of the teams that are in the playoff picture in the AFC. Let's go over to the NFC real quick as I crimple these papers
Crimple
them. One seed is the 49ers still, despite the loss, 10-2, although that is a precarious situation now with Seattle. Maybe going to jump them, push the 49ers to a wild card team. How quickly things can change.
Insane.
2 seed, the New Orleans Saints, also at 10-2. Green Bay, the division leaders in the North, at 9-3. Dallas at 6-6 in the worst division in football, the NFC East.
It is the worst.
Wild card, you got Seattle at 9-2. You got Minnesota at 8-3, so that's going to be a good Monday night game tonight. In the hunt, the Rams at 7-5, Chicago 6-6, so Philadelphia at 5-7. So 9.
Rams ain't out of it yet.
They're not,
no.
right? Do you want to talk about the Rams?
Well, the Vikings lose. Yeah, let's start there real quick, if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, the Rams are not out of it.
So the Rams beat the Cardinals 34-7.
Yep, they took out all their anger from their Monday night game on the poor little Cardinals. Tweet, tweet, tweet,
And so
tweet.
if I was to give you a headline in this
Here, little
game,
birdie.
this is what I came up with.
Yeah.
Goff named NFL MPP. Most puzzling player. Because I feel like this is the weirdest season for a quarterback. Because he throws for 500 yards in a game.
Right.
And after that game, there are people that say, he actually didn't play that well. And you watch the film, you say, I actually think it was one of his best games he ever played.
Yes.
Now he does it again. He throws for, 424 yards. Right. But looking at some of the numbers here, he was the second least aggressive quarterback downfield.
Yes.
So he threw the ball like 43 times, but an average of just 5 yards down the field.
I mean, if you watch the start of the game, it was shallow crosses, short throws to Robert Woods. It was all those type of things,
He did not throw a pass more than 20 yards downfield the entire game on 43 attempts.
Right.
He threw into tight coverage less than any quarterback, just 2% of the time.
Right.
And so these are short passes. They're little screens, flares, where there's not
everything
tight
20
coverage.
and under, basically.
Like Sean McVay. This might be the easiest 424 yards. Not that it's easy.
I get you. But no, but your point's right.
It's a strange 424 yards.
Well, it's surgical. That's Sean McVay. This is the thing I've argued about Jared Goff on his, and again, the 500-yard game we talked about earlier this year, he made a lot of big-time throws, like tight 20-yard out route throws into tight windows, things like that. Yeah, no, yesterday would go back to what I would call the Sean McVay silver platter plays. Here you go. If you can just throw to a wide-open receiver 10 yards in front of your face, you're going to get a 20-yard gain, and I'm going to make you look really good. Here it is.
I'll take it.
Yeah, right, exactly. And you're like, oh, okay, great. All I got to do is hit Robert Woods coming across, 6 yards downfield, and then I'll get 25 yards on my stat sheet? Sure, coach, where can I sign up? First off, and again, I didn't watch this game like super, super tight to where I can give you X's and O's and schemes, but I came away at one point talking to the NBC guys going, have the Cardinals watched the Rams on film this year? I mean, it's like they fell for like all the basics of the Rams. There, it's a bootleg, and it's a shallow crosser, and like, whoa, we've never seen them do that on a film before. No, they do it every week, 25 times a game. But good for him getting everybody off his back, certainly, and got their defense back on track. That will give their offense some confidence again going down here into the playoff stretch. And they are not out of this. They are not. Hey, the Vikings lose tonight, and they go to 8-4. They're one game back, and the Rams got the Seahawks coming this weekend. They can still make some serious waves in the NFC.
Robert Woods had 172 yards. About 135 of them were after the catch. One of them on a 48-yard screen pass. Where you got to give credit where credit is due. Jared Goff made a good block.
He did make it.
He took a hands to the face even.
Yes.
I feel like, I don't know who did that. Patrick Peterson, hands to the face there. So
yeah, Patrick Peterson struggled yesterday.
Rams get the win, 34-7. They are still in it. Packers leading the NFC North. They're 9-3. They win 31-13 over the Giants. My headline, Aaron celebrates in style. Happy birthday to
the greatest quarterback I've ever seen.
Rodgers. 36 years old.
36 years old. Sad.
It's sad. He's really getting up there.
He is getting up
He's
there.
really not to Tom Brady territory.
In football years, he's getting up there.
So Aaron Rodgers with 243 yards, 4 touchdowns in the snow on passes 10 or more yards down the field in the snow. You figure, okay, it's snowing out. Maybe it's going to be a little more difficult to throw the ball.
Not to Aaron Rodgers.
Not to Aaron Rodgers. 7 of 10, 176 yards, and 2 of his 4 touchdowns were on passes 10 or more yards down the field.
Oh, blizzard. 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts. No problem for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just still at a point in his career where he's, this is one of those games where it's like it's easy to pick because I just go, oh, it's Aaron Rodgers versus this defense. These are the kind of games he can take over in. He can just literally take over all by himself. The Giants, real quick, played quarters coverage early in the game, and quarters coverage against Aaron Rodgers is a fucking no-no, okay? Because that means the post route's going to be open, and anybody who watched the game early on, they hit 2 big post routes to Lazard down the middle, number 13, who's quietly becoming his second big target. But those 2 throws had a 3rd and 17 or 18 off his back foot and laser down the middle. The touchdown throw at the end of the game. Again, Green Bay in games like that, they're going to look sexy and good because Rodgers is still sexy and good.
Yeah.
But I still don't sit there and go, oh, it makes me feel a lot better about them in the NFC playoffs. I mean, Green Bay to me at this point, they're maybe win 1 playoff game. They might be one and done. If they're not one and done, they're going to win 1 and, maybe be a pain in the ass for the Saints in a divisional playoff game,
right.
But I don't think anything more than that.
They're not going to play the Giants in the playoffs.
No, they're not.
Daniel Jones, the only quarterback with 3 interceptions this week. He played most of that game in the snow.
Yeah.
He's learning on the field. What, anything in particular?
Well, Daniel Jones is the star of the Giants. I mean, the problem with Daniel Jones is the fact that they put the game on his shoulders every week, and then act like, Odell and, everybody's still here around you. No problem. Just carry us.
Yeah.
No, they don't have the weapons or the team or the offensive line to do that right now. But Daniel Jones has by far been the bright spot of the year for the New York Giants. I mean, you ask any Giant fan around here, they're excited because of what Daniel Jones has shown at times this year, and there's a bright future with him at quarterback.
Packers leading the division. Rams are still in it. Over in the AFC.
John McDonald, you ready for it? You're excited about Daniel Jones, right? Yes, that was emphatic, with the eyes squinted, that's a stupid question, Chris.
Of course, yeah, we're on board.
I'm excited, yes.
Everything else with the team, no. But with Daniel Jones,
right.
We're on board with Daniel Jones. Over in the AFC, I'll tell you what, people in Pittsburgh are on board with Mike Tomlin and the Steelers right now.
Mike T.
After that start for them, they've won 6 of their last 7.
Yeah.
They're 7-5. They beat the Browns 20-13. And my headline for this one is Pittsburgh ended it. The T-shirt that Freddie Kitchens was
didn't
wearing.
start it,
Pittsburgh
right?
started it.
Yeah, right.
Pittsburgh ended it
yes,
because
they
now
did.
The Browns have been eliminated from AFC North competition. They're still the only team never to win the AFC North. They fall to 5-7.
Wow.
Devlin Hodges.
Duck, duck, goose.
Second most downfield air yards per pass of any quarterback this year.
Yeah.
So they're down to Devlin Hodges, their third string guy, the duck guy, and they're still slinging it and throwing the ball deep.
He's a natural at it. I mean, that's his game. It's what I saw when I was in training camp in Pittsburgh this summer. It's what you've seen, and of course this game and the game against the Chargers. This is the element he brings to the offense for Pittsburgh that Mason Rudolph is just not capable of. With Devlin Hodges, if there's a 25-yard crosser running down the middle of the field and he's, what I would say open for NFL terms, which is got a step on a guy, he hits it. He takes what's there to be had. I haven't come away and watched and gone, oh, Devlin Hodges left 150 yards in the field today because he couldn't throw the ball. Yeah. I had some games with Mason Rudolph where I went, holy shit, he left a lot of plays on the field. They should have gashed them, and they didn't. Devlin Hodges is not that way. He's a natural at the quarterback. They have a special defense. They stay patient with the run. Good for Mike Tomlin, who's definitely in the running for head coach of the year. I mean, he is. And he doesn't have any bullshit to deal with. He's got no Big Ben, no Antonio Brown, no Le'Veon Bell. It's just him every week in front of the team.
Didn't play this past week.
There you go.
He's still on the team, but he didn't play.
And James Washington had a huge day. That was the go-to guy for Devlin Hodges, and that proved to be enough. But for them to not panic being down 10-0 early and still hang in there and stay patient with the run and not be stupid as far as just putting Devlin Hodges in some bad situations, that was the key to the game because ultimately he found some big completions and their defense, pretty much put the kibosh on the Browns offense after those first 2 drives.
And it's not going to happen for Baker Mayfield this year. He was 4 of 14 on passes, 10 or more yards down the field. His one interception was there. He lost a fumble as well.
Right.
It's just it's not the year for Baker Mayfield.
No, it's not. It's definitely not.
Coming out party.
Not his coming out party. I'll be interested to see what happens in Cleveland in general. I would think that Freddie Kitchens is in trouble there if they don't make the playoffs. I think he's very real possibility of being one and done. I like Freddie. I just think that's the reality of the situation. That's
a badge of honor, though. He would join a long list of coaches who are one and done in Cleveland.
Well,
he's not alone.
No, No, he's not.
It's not a lonely party.
He's not.
Not a very happy party either.
No, it's not.
So the Browns go down. Steelers get the victory. How about the Titans?
I mean, the never die Titans.
So here's my headline for Titans defeating the Colts 31-17. The headline is Volunteers beat Vandy, because that's the big news in Nashville. Because no one ever talks about the Titans, even though they're 7-5. 7-5 now. It seems like we always kind of overlook them. And, you know, they've had some really signature key wins this year.
Yes, they have.
And I think this is another one of them as the Colts fall to 6-6. Ryan Tannehill, he's since stepping in, he was 17-22, couple touchdowns, highest quarterback rating of any quarterback this week. He is moving the offense quite well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, we just talked about, like, what's there to be had, right? He's another guy that when it's there to be had, he strikes. You know, that's what I would have complained about with Marcus Mariota. I would get done watching games with Marcus Mariota and go, man, they won, or man, they lost, but man, did he miss some throws that they could have won that game easier, or if he hit those throws, they might have won that game. Ryan Tannehill doesn't miss any of those, let alone they got Derrick Henry going in the run game. That's a big thing. And then, you know, just complete football team right now is where I look at it. I mean, this game really was fascinating. And this is a game I'm going to go watch on film tomorrow. But, I mean, it was 17-7. The Colts seemed like they kind of had control of the game. The Titans go on a big drive, right? And basically it was a few big runs by, you know, the big boy, Derrick Henry. I want to look at my notes as I...
Well, Derrick Henry's he's doing it again.
Of course.
He does this, so the last 3 games, he's led the NFL in rushing each week that he's played. In September and October of his career, he is averaging below 4 yards per carry. You get to November, December, January, he is above 5 yards per carry. He's doing it once again. So as the year goes on, Derrick Henry, they lean on him more and he performs better.
He does. He seems to get in a groove vision-wise and everything. And then, of course, his big size and physicality, I think, wears on people at this time of the year. And he's not worn out because he is so big and strong and everything about it. But, I mean, it really was. That to me, it was 17-7. They drive down. They get a touchdown, right, to make it 17-14. Then on the very next series, Jacoby Brissett throws a really stupid interception down the middle of the field. The Colts hold them to a field goal. It's 17-7. The Colts get the ball back. It's 17-7. They go down the field, and you're thinking, oh, all right, here they go. They're going to kick a field goal, get some points, blocked field goal, return for a touchdown. It's 24-17. And then they get the ball back, and he throws an interception down the middle of the field to Kevin Byard, I believe. And that was it. Game over. And then Tannehill threw a bomb the next play. I mean, it's that fickle. That's what's crazy about the NFL. You can dominate for almost 3/4 of a game, or at least control the game, and then mess up 3 or 4 plays, and all of a sudden you look up and you go, what the hell happened? We're down by 14.
Apart.
Right.
Yep. The fastest ball carrier in the NFL in Week 13 was in this game.
Was it in this game?
It was in this game. Gosh. Is it? You're not going to get it.
Raymond?
Oh, yeah. It's Raymond. Khalif Raymond.
I'm good.
So he went 21 miles an hour. It was on the route. It was before he caught the ball, because he basically caught the ball in the end zone. It was on his route. On a 40-yard touchdown reception to seal the victory.
Okay.
Oh, you got it.
Well,
Pete helped you out there?
I have NFL GSIS in front of me, NFL Jesus.
Looking at all that.
And I just looked at, I'm here, and I just, I looked for the guys with the longest plays of the day, and 40 yards was the longest, so I just went with that guy.
It was, but still, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
there were other long plays. He's 5'8", 182 pounds. Had just 4 catches, 85 yards coming into the game. Played college at Holy Cross. Apparently, he is one of the hardest workers in practice, so good to see him get out on the field.
Always good to see.
And then produce.
I did not even know his first name until you said it.
Khalif Raymond. Or Caliph. I don't know.
You're not sure?
Probably Khalif.
I mean, maybe you should be a professional and do research.
I should have called him up. So the Titans get the win over the Colts. 31-17 is the final score. Now time for a staple of our Monday podcasts. It is Damn, Okay.
Damn. I'm okay. Damn. I'm okay. Yeah, no, yes. I'm okay. The legal gambleizing. Oh, baby. I am Chris Sims. I'm okay. Damn. Okay.
You used that song to stretch. You had to do a little bit of
I did. The back's tight lately. Oh, no. I had to sleep on the couch last night. I slept next to a 330-pound left tackle last night.
Wait.
My wife. She snores like an offensive lineman. Okay? I don't know what else to say. And I had to get up and go to the couch at like 3:30 in the morning because I could not sleep.
Yeah, she was too loud.
I woke up to take a pee, and I came back in, and it was like... And I was like, holy shit. And I tried to stuff my ears with the pillow. And
didn't work?
No. I mean, nothing. Because it's not even, it's the vibration of the bed at that point. It's not even sound.
You have to choose between not sleeping or having a bad back the next day.
Right. And I went with a bacchiotomy. Yes. Holy I'm tired today.
Although I'll tell you what, a bacchiotomy, bad back, not sleeping at all is probably better than Eagles fans experienced last night, because that was a rough one, losing to the Dolphins, who are now 3-9, 37-31. And we got a damn okay to hand out to DeVante Parker.
Yes, we do.
7 catches, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns. Over his last 3 games, 385 yards, had 394 yards his previous 8 games combined. He and Fitzmagic are looking good together.
They well, I mean, DeVante Parker's got top-end talent.
Yeah.
That's the reason he was a first-round pick coming out of Louisville. Hey, the New England Patriots and that staff, I know they loved him coming out. And, of course, now a lot of them are down there in Miami. So when he's really, the talent's never been an issue. It's been healthy has been the issue. Can he stay healthy? And I know Adam Gase, he made some remarks about it last year, because he just, he'd play a week and then he'd miss 2 weeks. And then he'd play a week again and he'd be gone for 3 or 4 weeks. He hasn't been able to string together like any long periods of time of playing, but that was the story of the game. You're exactly right. I mean, his ability and Ryan Fitzpatrick's ability to just have confidence in him and go, hey, he's one-on-one against guys that are not as talented and are smaller than him. Let me put it up in a spot and he'll go get it. And that really was the story of it. I mean, anybody go back and watch the highlights of the game. It wasn't like he was like catching slant routes and running by people and breaking things that way. It was literally, hey, jump ball, go beast or moss this guy and come down with it. And he did it every time.
He did.
And that's all there was to it.
Ryan Fitzpatrick on passes 20 or more yards downfield, 5 of 5, 150 yards, 3 of his touchdowns on just throwing it up, going downfield, making stuff happen against this Eagles secondary and defenses. Wow, what a head scratcher, because I think a lot of people thought Eagles, they are likely a playoff team, likely the division winner, and it looks like neither of those things may happen. Although as bad as the NFC East is, maybe they still can win the division.
Yeah, well, it's just disappointing. The Eagles offense, of course, we know has struggled and not great. Yesterday was a pretty decent day by them. It wasn't like they played horrible. But the fact is they had a 28-14 lead against one of the worst offenses in football and let them just march down the field repeatedly in the second half of the game to not only come back, but then put yourselves down by 9 points to that team.
Sure.
And that's where I think it's crazy. And I think the biggest drive of the day being the 9-play, 96-yard drive, where the Eagles were up 28-26. Miami had just scored. Eagles got the ball, got out towards midfield, punt the Dolphins back in their own end zone and down there on their own 4-yard line, and they drive the ball right down the field on the Eagles. That to me was the heartbreaking moment to go, man, Philadelphia doesn't have it this year. There's no other way to say it. They're just not as dominant with their pass rush. And the other thing I'll say, too, and I saw we have this tweet from Karen. Mm-hmm. How did the Eagles not adjust to Parker, right? I mean, you're exactly right, Karen, at Carrie0078. Mm-hmm. I don't know either. Again, what would Bill Belichick do? WWBD. What would Belichick do? I think after the first 5 to 4 receptions of the game with DeVante Parker beasting him, you at some point go, okay, I've seen enough of him. We're going to double him, and somebody else is going to have to beat us today, because he's obviously got the hot hand and did that, but they never adjusted. They just kept leaving Ronald Darby and Jalen Mills out there man-to-man, and he just kept torturing.
Props to Brian Flores for going for it on 4th down. Perfect 3 for 3 on 4th down. They were rolling the dice. They were rolling the dice on that fake field goal, 4th down.
Seriously.
1-yard touchdown.
But they're tanking for Tua.
Matt Hawk to Jason Sanders. So a lot of cool things for the Dolphins. They got 3 wins on the year right now.
Yeah, they do.
Washington has 3 wins on the year right now. They beat the Panthers, who are now 5-7, 29-21. Damn okay in this one. Darius Geis, the running back for Washington.
Yes, sir.
Faced 8 men in the box 60% of the time, tied for second most in the NFL this week, but still had 129 yards on 10 carries, had a long of 60, and so despite them trying to stop the run and loading up against it, he was able to go off.
No, it didn't matter. First off, the Redskins O-line is good. Bill Callahan, an ex-O-line coach, great run game design. All right, this is to me where I go like, oh no, what did the NFL ever do without the RPOs? What did the Redskins do? There was an extra guy in the box every time. They're not supposed to be able to run the ball like that. Yeah, they can. It's called you have a good running back, and he makes a guy miss every now and then. And that's really what it looked like. I mean, Carolina, just got worn out in the run game in the second half. And Darius Geis was the star of the game. His 2 big runs, I think he had a 60-yarder and a 37-yarder that led to touchdowns. So that was big. And then, the Kyle Allen, he threw a big interception where I want to say he got sacked and hit the ball. Or no, they were backed up in their own end zone. So that led to a short field touchdown. But the Redskins, they're fighting. They still are. And it's important to these guys. This is why tanking doesn't happen in the NFL. Because head coaches and coaches are fighting for their jobs, let alone all the players who are out there who are on the fringe roster, right, or are going to be free agents. Yeah. They can't afford to I'm going to be here guaranteed next year. I'm tanking. No, the only people that are guaranteed to be on the Redskins next year, that's a short list. It's like Dwayne Haskins and Darius Geis and Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen and Ryan Kerrigan. And after that, it's like, you better make the team.
Yeah.
And so there's no such thing as tanking.
There's no player that wants to tank, too, because that means you get a better guy in the draft. That could
right.
Take your
now
job.
They're going to look at exactly right.
I don't want a top 5 pick in my position.
Exactly. But that's it for Carolina. See you later.
They're done. So here's the interesting thing. Now you got Ron Rivera, 9th year. This is their 4th straight loss. For a defensive-minded coach, you get a year where Cam goes down. And it's the defense that might cost them this year. More than the offense. I think the offense has been fine.
It has.
And it's the defense that could be the undoing for Ron Rivera. I don't know if this is the end for him, if they think they need to make a change. But I was looking at through the years, and he's got 9 years. They have won more than 7 games just 3 times in those 9 years.
Wow.
So they've gone 7-9 or worse more times than not under Ron Rivera. He's had a couple really good years.
Yeah.
Took him to a Super Bowl. But I don't know. You wonder if it's maybe time for a change. They've had some close losses. They've been down there needing a touchdown to tie or win at the end of games. But
this isn't horseshoes or hand grenades, so it doesn't matter. I think you're answering your question. I think you got it.
I asked it and answered it.
Well,
this
is it. I don't, don't read too deep into this. Like, the optics are what they are, and you've kind of said some of the stats there, and at year 9, it's like it's run its course. Damn, you had your chance to win the Super Bowl, would have probably bought you a few extra years, but it didn't. They didn't play that game the right way either. And, I think Ron Rivera will be out in Carolina when all's said and done this year.
They're 5-7. The Bengals are 1-11.
Booyah.
They got to win. There will be no 0-16
Red Rifle.
This year, 22-6. They get the win over the Jets and are damn okay in this game.
Yeah.
Carlos Dunlap.
Yeah, I know.
3 sacks. Had 6 quarterback hits. That led the NFL this week. 10th year in the league. They've all been with Cincinnati. He's had 7 sacks in 7 of his 10 years. Has 5.5 this year. Could get there again. A consistent performer for Cincinnati that has been under the radar. You don't talk about him.
No, I know. He's been one of those guys that's been a staple of that defense for a long time now. And like a really good defense end. Not a superstar, but really good. Got good size. Plays the run well. Does all those things. Hey, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I didn't watch a ton of this game. Of course I didn't.
Yeah.
All I know is, Andy Dalton looked a whole lot better than Ryan Finley. And then listen, I know I was a Ryan Finley fan coming out in the draft. I thought he had something to him. I was wrong. He does not. And he is not on Andy Dalton's territory as far as what he can do as for a football team. And even added to that, this game could have been worse. The Bengals dropped, at least I thought, 2 touchdown passes down in the end zone. He had a tight end drop 2 different passes at different drives to where this game could have been even worse than what it really was. But, this is the puzzling thing about the Jets. They're just all over the map. And I never really felt like I watched a sustained drive on the offensive side of the ball either. I'm going to zoom through that game at some point this week because I'm just curious and I want to watch what the hell happened. But I don't have much more to add there other than I just felt like Andy Dalton gave them the spark they needed.
And it had been a good run for the Jets. They had scored 34 points in each of their last 3 games, all wins before this. So this one was a bit of a clunker. But now they have lost to a team that was 0-11, the Bengals, and they lost to Miami, who were 0-7 November 3rd. So they're the first team to ever do that, lose to 2 teams that were at least 0-7 when they played them.
That's amazing.
Not great.
No, it's not great.
There is a Twitter question from Andrew Golden that said, why does Adam Gase wants to make Jets fans cry? Why does he wants to do that?
Well, he doesn't mean to. I mean, he just, I think first thing is,
It was a good run. I mean, this was a stinker.
They're not
of a game,
incredibly talented on the offensive side of the ball yet. They still have offensive line issues. They can't run the ball on anybody. Do I want Adam Gase to, unleash more offense and more, scheme things, formations, and different passing schemes? Yes, I would like to see that. But I don't sit there and watch Adam Gase's offense and go, oh, it's so horrible. I mean, I can't believe this guy's a head coach. No, his offense is very good. Could it go to another level? Yes. And do I think the Jets roster needs to go to another level? Of course I do. I think that's the biggest problem more than anything. Robbie Anderson's good, but he's not a number one. You want him to be your number two. They need to get some O-linemen so Le'Veon Bell can have a job or do something because he's non-existent with the way they block. That's an issue there. Adam Gase talking about opening up the offense. He needs to find more ways to throw the ball to Le'Veon Bell. That would be one area where I would certainly look at. So I think that, let alone we need a pass rusher here with the New York Jets. You need some corners to go along with it. There's a number of issues where Mike McCagnon just left the roster in a shit spot, and that's all you can say about it.
So the sunshine shining on the Cincinnati Bengals for the first time this year. We had a Sunshine State matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yikes.
Buccaneers get the win.
Yeah.
Jumped out to a big lead early on, 28-11. My headline for this one, can I get a quarterback for both teams that just want to...
Can I get a quarterback?
Remember that hot tub
Yeah,
commercial
right,
at State Farm?
right.
Can I get a hot tub?
Yes.
That was pretty...
That was good.
Stuck in my mind.
Good. Don't see movies.
So
but you
Jameis
see
Winston
commercials.
gets the win. Gardner Minshew comes in for Nick Foles, who was taken off the field, 7 of 14, 93 yards, 1 interception. Had an interception, 2 fumbles on his first 3 possessions as the quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars in this game. Gardner Minshew comes in, 16-27, 147 yards, 1 touchdown, did throw an interception, and they have already named him the starting quarterback for next week.
They should have. Again, I was expecting a lot more out of Nick Foles when he came back healthy. It has not been good from get-go. I mean, bad in the pocket, like bad, feel with people around him. He can't move. His arm looks average. I mean, I don't know what else to say. That's all I can really say about it. When Gardner Minshew came in the game yesterday, and I went, damn, Gardner Minshew's better. I mean, right now, as we speak here in December of 2019, Gardner Minshew's better than Nick Foles. Yeah, there's no other way to say it. And, yeah, I mean, he's going to have a chance here to really make some noise and put the Jaguars in a really uncomfortable spot to where you might go in the offseason and go, man, our backup's making $20 million and Gardner Minshew is going to be making a few $100,000 as our starter. I mean, that's really what it might be about here. But I do think with his athleticism and his arm strength advantage there, yeah, I understand them going with Gardner Minshew. Nick Foles would fall into that category again. If they threw him out there this week, the team in the locker room would go, are we trying to win this game or are we trying to justify a contract? And them trying to justify a quarterback already has ruined that team for a year with Blake Bortles in that situation. Sure. Because that was part of the issues in the locker room there last year. I know this for a fact that, they felt like everybody on the team was held accountable except for Blake Bortles. So, they got to be careful about dancing down that, fine line there with Nick Foles again as well. But Jacksonville is just a sham of a team right now. They look like a total mess. And, hey, the Buccaneers got it going. Jameis Winston's got it going. He's been playing pretty good football lately. Their D-line's real. And
they have interesting players.
They
Buccaneers have interesting players.
They have some staples to build around.
Devin White, Shaq Barrett, good again, dominated this game early. So Vita Vea, Vegemin. One more game. The Broncos beat the Chargers. Both teams 4-8 now, 23-20. We got to see Drew Lock. So the headline could be "Lock It Up" here. For Drew Lock, 18-28, 134 yards, couple touchdowns, had 3 rushes for 15 yards. Yeah. You famously liked him in the draft this past year more than Dwayne Haskins. Yeah. Did you see him at all? Did you watch any of this game?
I did, yeah, I did.
What'd you think?
Listen, I like the way Drew Lock looks. Was it perfect? No, but I do think when I look at Drew Lock, he has a presence on the field. The ball really pops out of his hands. I mean, he made a few throws where I went like, whoa, that's a big-time throw or a big-time look of a throw there. They're fortunate to win that game. They really had one good drive the whole game, and that was one of the first drives of the game where they went down and got a 7-0 lead. Then Phillip Rivers threw a dumb interception and gave them the short field, and he threw another pass to Courtland Sutton, who's been just an absolute superstar. He is a superstar receiver for them. And then they just hung on, basically, from there on out. I mean, that's all there was to it. Hey, Phillip Rivers, They had Tyrod Taylor warming up on the sideline there yesterday. Like, you know, I've heard rumors there that there's part of the organization that wants to start Tyrod Taylor, but it's also like late in the season, and this is probably his last year there altogether, where they're just going to hang in there with Phillip. But this dug themselves in a hole, got themselves out of it, and found a way to screw it up in the end anyways. And I feel like that's been the Chargers' way for 3 out of the last 4 years.
They got that field goal with 14 seconds left.
It's amazing.
Oh, they're going to overtime.
Amazing. I don't agree with the pass interference call. I'll say that too right off the bat. I don't agree with it.
Got the Broncos into field goal.
Yeah, I don't agree with it. Like, to me, and again, I wish DBs would do a better job of making it look like they're playing the ball. That's their first issue. But also, you know, a DB has a right to an area. If the DB is standing on the area, it doesn't mean the receiver can just run over him and then go, oh, you interfered me as I was trying to catch the ball. No, he was there first. This is the game of football, and it's about territory, and that's your territory unless I move you out of it, as in blocking or something like that. But in the pass game, he has every right to that territory. So I just that would have been one where I would like to see no call. Yeah. Just don't make a call.
Which you see at the end of a half or end of a game.
Most of the time they eat it.
Call that,
right. But they did for some reason in that situation.
They called that one. So that is every game from this past Sunday. And before we go, I do want to say goodbye to some eliminated teams. So Pete, our producer,
say bye.
Came up with an idea that we can
Bye now.
Requiem for a Team. Remember that?
Oh, I do.
The movie Requiem for a Dream.
You remember that?
I do. One of the darkest movies I've ever not seen. So there are 6 teams who have been officially eliminated. From the playoffs. In the NFL this year. It's the Dolphins, Bengals, Lions, Falcons, Cardinals, and Giants. And so we say goodbye. We eulogize them.
Goodbye.
We bury them.
Right? Dolphins, Bengals,
Lions, Falcons, Cardinals, and Giants. So I wrote up a little eulogy for each team. It's just a couple sentences here, but what we do need is some sad music.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have any of it.
Come on, Pete, dim a little light.
Oh wait, I do. Do you hear it? Do you hear the?
No.
I don't hear. Oh, okay, it's already playing. We just can't hear it.
Yeah.
So just pretend some in your ears, some sad music. Dolphins. Here lie the Miami Dolphins, who have failed at winning and failed at losing all in the same season. Not even tanking correctly. Okay, we bury them.
Thank you.
The Bengals. Here lie the Bengals.
Right.
A team so bad that even primetime Andy Dalton from yesteryear would have lost by only a couple scores against them. They just are having a bad year, although they did get the win. Here lie the Detroit Lions.
Right.
Led by a man, Matt Patricia, with a broken foot, leading a broken franchise, with a broken defense, whose franchise quarterback has a broken back. It's just all broken.
It's all broken.
It's all broken for the Detroit Lions.
It is.
Here lie the Atlanta Falcons, who did not fire their head coach, Dan Quinn, yet, despite having the largest stable of former head coaches on their staff, and thus the most impressive group of uninspiring interim coaches in waiting available. Even with that, they've stuck with their main man.
Sticking with DQ.
Here lie the Arizona Cardinals, who with Cliff and Kyler have the best looking, flashiest bad team in NFL history. I'm giving them that.
Wow.
Men this attractive should not die so young.
They are attractive.
They are very attractive, right? It's a good looking group.
It is.
And finally, here lie the New York Giants. A team so bad that it has earned the right to draft second-round quarterback prospect Jake Fromm out of Georgia with the number 6 overall pick. That's how
You're very funny.
We can bury all 6 of those teams.
Real funny, asshole.
They're done. They're all done.
Yep. The Giants will be drafting high, though. That's for sure.
They will be drafting high.
They don't need a quarterback, though. That's for sure.
You never know. You never know.
That was real dumb. Say that one about the Bengals again. That confused me altogether.
Where primetime Andy Dalton from yesteryear would have only lost by a couple scores against them, because Andy Dalton in primetime, from a few years ago was so bad.
Right.
They still wouldn't have beat them, but would have only lost by a couple scores against this current incarnation of the Cincinnati Bengals.
That was your worst one by far.
It was kind of a dig on the past 3 teams,
Yep.
So there will be more teams to be buried coming
next
up
week.
Next week.
In Ahmed's eulogies.
In my eulogy.
Requiem for a team. All right, everybody, we're done. I'm really done. Like I told you. I mean, you'd all be tired too if you slept next to my wife last night. I'm exhausted.
Here you go. Here's this couch. Here's this couch.
Yep.
Right
Screw my wife and her snoring. Okay. Only I'm allowed to screw her, okay? But
okay.
Now they're nervous in the back. Oh no, Chris is going off the rails because he's tired at the end of a long day.
I'll take his mic.
We better cut it off now. Peace out, everybody. Wednesday will be What the F Happened podcast. Ahmed, will you be here on Wednesday?
I will not be.
No, you will not. What an asshole. Don't touch me then. See you later. Peace. Episode number 100.
Maybe I will come back.
Is special. No, you're not invited.
Okay.
Bye. See ya. Yo, what's up? Come on, man. Subscribe on YouTube to Chris Sims Unbuttoned Podcast. I need you. Please hit the subscribe button, please.